Welcome to episode number 64 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast.
Woo-hoo.
We're down to the three amigos. Yeah! Everybody remembers that movie. Chevy Chase and
Badges?
Martin Short.
Badges. We don't need no stinking badges.
What a great movie from years gone by.
I don't know if it was great, but it
was
iconic.
great.
Yeah, it was
classic.
iconic.
It is. I'd go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
We ought to have a
We should have a movie night.
movie night.
Yeah, we need to get a projector screen. That screen's not big enough, Mark.
Oh, dude.
What is it, like 60 inch, 70
That's
inch?
70. 75, actually.
Yeah, but you got a
James
big
can bring the
space.
popcorn.
Yeah, I'll bring the popcorn.
Speaking of popcorn,
big bag.
that is number 2 on my list. Keep that up. Because I want to.
man. Popcorn.
We've got so many off topics to talk about this week because the game itself, we'll get to it and we'll talk about it. But McKinney ISD Stadium, and I was hoping that they wouldn't do what they did last year.
It's controversy. It's just, we can't get away from controversy.
The first thing out of the PA announcer's mouth, did everybody remember what it was? Remember what it was the other night?
No.
I wasn't listening.
Same thing he said last year. We all kind of choked.
Oh. The
Welcome
crown jewel.
to the crown jewel of Texas high school football. And he said it again.
Yeah.
I guess that's just what they think.
It's your trademark.
Well, but their high kick team is national champions.
But
how many national champions?
I think it's because
high
they've
kick
had
teams
the
can there be?
D2 championship there twice now.
Ooh, that's true. Well, because the D2 championship doesn't draw as many people, they need a much
Smaller
smaller,
stadium, make it look
more
more full.
quaint. Kind
to
of
make
like,
it look full.
yeah.
Because they wouldn't fill up Eagle
No.
Stadium.
No.
Well, but they
More
said,
power to them. Man.
They said that before the D2 championship went there last year. And I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think of what makes them think that.
Marketing.
Marketing makes them think that?
But you hire the right marketing person. It's all about how you present yourself.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I think it's a great stadium. It's really nice, but they missed the boat on that end zone, all that
Yeah.
wasted space by putting the school's logos there.
Yeah.
When they could have been like the student section seats.
Could have.
Been perfect.
Yeah.
But you got to have students.
And they've got the nice video. They got the nice video boards.
It's very bright. When they put
I
up a
know.
white ton of screen, the
I
whole
love
place
those
lights
things where they
up.
put stats up and everything. I love that.
Yeah.
But
I will. There is one thing in that stadium that I do have jealousy issues over:
What's that?
the chains.
yes,
Why we don't have those electronic chains?
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, that show you the yards to
Yards
go.
to go,
and-
down
and-
yards to go, and you don't have to look up on the scoreboard and try to find it.
Right.
It's always right. And I'm just like, that is really cool. And why we don't have those, I don't know. I guess because bond packages
Yeah,
don't
then
pass
pass the
now.
bond package. I voted
Well,
for it.
yeah, and the other thing that frustrates me about our stadium is we don't have stereo. It's all mono.
Hand me that Windex. I don't know. I forgot to put the cleaning supplies up. Sorry, guys.
Mark is a fastidious
Thought that was our
clean person.
sanitizer.
Yeah. Sorry.
you little hand.
So, yeah, that comes out of their mouth. And then the other thing, and even before we get to the game, I have something else that is just like, since when do you not serve popcorn at a football game?
I can understand peanuts because the shells get everywhere and it's a mess. But popcorn,
Well, I know. We've seen you eat popcorn, though, too.
come on! I throw
I know,
as
you
much as
throw
I
it.
eat. Well,
You're throwing it
whatever.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's just like, what's up with that?
Can we not go down to the Walmart and get a huge bag of popcorn or something?
I mean, I can't remember last year whether they sold popcorn or not.
I
but
think they did.
I'm just like, went to get popcorn and there was no popcorn. And it wasn't like they weren't making it. It wasn't even listed on one of the items for sale.
Well, look, the thing that redeemed them for me is they sell Skittles. They're not a Skittle-free stadium like our stadium.
That is true. But still, no popcorn.
I know.
You didn't have a wife there with you who has to have popcorn at a football game.
Oh, well, that'd be her last game, I guess.
You're never going to hear from them.
She won't be going back there. They don't serve popcorn.
I will not be going back to.
You can't bring your own popcorn in.
Oh, you can't? Well, I suppose you can. So it
You
in
bring
the
your own-
linings of
can't
your
bring
coat.
anything in. Well, yeah,
Well.
I guess so. You can do that.
You can if you don't declare it.
If you don't declare it. So anyhow, Alan played McKinney Friday night, in case anybody forgot,
Yeah.
because this game might be forgotten. I don't know. District game, coming off a big win over Geyer. You're, expected to win this one, I guess, is probably everybody's prognostication.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody picking against you in this game.
Yeah. But any game in this environment, any game that you can actually get into and play,
yep,
it's good from an experience standpoint.
That is
for
true.
Sure.
That is true. And so you think, okay, you got Geyer out of the way, you got McKinney this week, and then you got your quote unquote district title game for you anyways, against Prosper coming up the day after Thanksgiving. So this is one of these in between games, and I think as long as we've been a group and been together, there's always been one or two of these games every year that you just go, what did I just watch? And so many things that you look at and go.
Well, in some areas of the game, and we'll get into this, I know you've got some things to say about that, but areas of the game that you took for granted because they were working so well, in particular, leader on the team, things were just gelling and it looked like everything was hitting on all cylinders, and then this game was just, it was kind of off.
It was kind of off.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of strangeness to it in the sense of things you, as you say, thought were going to be great and weren't.
Yeah.
And you start with the kickoff. And of course, again, we're not coaches and we don't know what goes on in the coaching room every week, and this whole idea of pooch kicking, for whatever reason, when the other team's probably 99% of the time is going to fair catch it.
Yeah.
And that will be the end of it, and they'll get the ball on the 25-yard line, and you go from there.
It could be as simple as just not taking any chances, pooch kicking it, okay, it's done.
Well, we've seen what happens when we go away from pooch kicking one time, and they run it back like 75 yards.
Then again, you've got a kicker who we know can kick it out of the end zone, too. And
which is
that is not being taken advantage of because, for whatever reason. But anyhow, the game starts off with Allen kicking off, and it's a pooch kick, and McKinney screws the pooch, so to speak. And nobody gets on the ball.
Yeah, and it squibbles around, and
you got it. I got it. No, you got it.
No, we got it. Allen gets it.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, the game was already over because we won the coin toss.
Well, yeah.
And so now you're looking and going, okay, well, thank you, McKinney.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Coach Shavers because that's kind of one of the, football 101.
Coaching aspect.
When the ball gets kicked, somebody catch it.
Yeah.
And the up back and the deep guy let it drop, and when the ball's on the ground, it bounces funny ways. Allen gets it. 3 plays later, it's a slant to Blaine Green for a quick 6.
Yeah.
And you're up 7-0, a minute and 8 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, on our way. Here we go.
Yeah. It's good to see Blaine and Bryson catching passes. And
both of them, 2 of the 3 plays on that drive were passes, 1 to Blaine, 1 to Bryson.
Yeah.
So they were involved quickly.
Yeah, and Blaine got 1 TD, and what, Bryson got 2, right?
He did.
Yeah, Bryson got 2
before the game was over.
Yeah.
So
we had running TD, so it was a good mix. Booty and also was it Jordan or Jalen that got TDs?
Well, Jordan got a passing touchdown. He got the one out of
You're right.
Out of the backfield. I'd have to go back and look at everything. I don't have everything.
Well, don't let me get you out of your rhythm. Man.
Yeah, man, you're messing with
I'm messing up the.
Allen's up 7-0. Kick the ball off. McKinney gets the ball, and if we sound like a broken record here,
it's because it is.
It's because you are. I mean, I turned to Sherry after 2 plays and said they watched the Little Elm game because it was out pattern, throw the ball out. They were throwing out routes.
Yeah.
In 8 yards, 9 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards. Now, they weren't trying to go deep.
Mm-hmm. Well, how can you go deep when the guys are playing 20 yards off the receiver? I mean, I get,
and I wish I could get a coach,
bend, but don't break. But my gosh, let them break you one time.
But if they're doing that, why do we not exploit the interior, the center of the defense? The medium pass, like all the teams are exploiting on us. I mean, go upfield a little bit more, right?
Well, I'm just curious, and I do. I wish a coach would come and sit down, and I know they won't.
Well, even if they didn't explain it to us in person,
Yeah.
we may have to have a little chat and get
Just
a little insight.
to understand what the philosophy is.
Yeah.
Because the corners play 10 yards off, and they immediately backpedal.
Yeah.
It's not like they, come up to the receiver.
Right.
And so the receiver runs 7-yard stops, and your corners are still 5, 6, 7 yards off of them.
Maybe maybe the speed isn't there that needs to be there for that. I don't know.
Well, and that's got to be part of it. You play with the kids that you've got, and they've got certain talents and skills and capabilities, and you don't want to get beat deep. That's for sure.
Well,
one time
I would be okay with that.
Well, that's if on a deep pass, if our corner or our safety is right up with them, and you get a pass interference because you're mixing it up too much. I'm okay with that.
So you get a pass interference. So you get a pass interference that's 15 yards as opposed to making 20 or 25 on an out pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were several of those on this first drive that I was just in. McKinney even had a penalty that put him in a long 3rd and 13, and they threw a 17-yard out route, and I'm just like.
17
Y'all are
yards.
killing me.
Well, and a lot of them, there were multiple passes where the guy was just camped out, near the sideline and just sitting there waiting.
Yep. And this wasn't a situation where you had a quarterback scrambling.
No, he was not
like
extremely mobile. Yeah.
No, it was very much, I'm a pocket passer. I'm going to sit back here. They drive, 70 yards, have to end up having to settle for a field goal.
Which was a victory. That's always a victory.
And I think I turned to Anthony Patton was sitting next to me, and I think I turned to him and said, "You're not going to beat Allen with field goals, so that's a win." When anytime you can get a field goal. Again, us not knowing what they were only going to score one touchdown the whole game at that point, you're just like,
yeah,
we'll take that and we'll go with it, and that's a good win for the defense. So Allen gets the ball back, and Allen does what Allen does in the first quarter.
A lot of points in the first quarter.
Yeah, they went 6 plays, took 5 minutes, and I think the second touchdown, if I'm correct, was this thing doesn't do the way I wanted it to. I should have brought the paper out here, but I think that was the swing pass to Jordan out of the backfield. I think another swing pass, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And
Jordan took it about 35 yards. From Booty and scored, went up 14-3.
Yep.
McKinney gets the ball back and can't. They keep it. They run 13 plays, but they they go for it on 4th down. It's incomplete. Allen gets the ball back about their 35-yard line and drive down the field and score. It's 21-3. And for all intents and purposes, at that point, game's over. From what you're seeing.
There's not much chance you think that McKinney can come back unless we just absolutely completely implode.
Yeah, because you're seeing an offense that is scoring every time it has the ball, and you're seeing a defense which is actually putting up some fight.
Yeah.
One of the things I did notice, and again, I don't know whether it's our guys are finally getting better. I mean, this is Allen's 5th game. Is that right? Yeah, 5th game, and so the guys are really they were inexperienced to start the year, and they've only played 5 games. And so when you think about it, you're like, okay, maybe they're finally settling in and understanding and learning how to do some things. Because to me, the front 4 pressure was better, and keeping the quarterback from scrambling for a whole bunch of yards was better too. And so
they did roll them out sometimes.
They had to.
Yeah.
But there were several sacks and there were several opportunities to flush him and making, especially in the second half. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But you had to see. I think I saw some improvement there as far as the level of pressure on a quarterback.
Well, and outside of the first quarter, I mean the end of the first quarter, McKinney had a long drive and ended up scoring. Right before the end of the first quarter, and that was essentially all of their scoring. All of their 10 points for the whole game.
Yep.
So, the running game, they had one runner who had one run that was 13 yards. But other than that, their two other running backs were 3.7 and 3.4 yards per carry average. So the running game wasn't a real danger to us.
No.
And yeah, then it's the passes, but it's the underneath, 7 to 10, 15-yard pass. And for the most part, we can cover it without.
Well, but you can do that all the way up and down the field without ever giving the ball up.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was. Again, there was some good, and like you say, the end of the first quarter is 21-10, and you're feeling real good. You're like, okay, shouldn't be any problem. And it really wasn't the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But that's about the time that my snooze went on.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what's going on with this game?
Well, and
because you score 21 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay, we're well on our way to our season average of 50-something points.
yeah.
We're going to be there. It's not going to be any problem to that. And we get another touchdown to make it 28-10.
Yep.
Defense is still playing well. They're not giving up anything. But then the opportunities just seem to dissolve
Well, yeah.
for a variety of reasons.
Fantastic defensive play on several of the players. Several of the players are really kind of standing out. And Alexander Green, number 15, was one of those.
Yep.
2 interceptions that I don't think we turned into points either time.
And
And that's frustrating. It's frustrating for him because, but it's also, it's just.
in essence, you had 5 turnovers from McKinney in the game. You had 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
You had the muff punt, which happened in the second half, which led to your only touchdown of the second half.
Yeah.
And you had the muffed kickoff to start the game, which led to points. But your 3 true turnovers were 0 points.
Right.
So if you were to tell me, if you didn't go to the game and said, okay, Allen got quote-unquote 5 turnovers, you would have thought they would have scored
50,
more
60, yeah, whatever.
than 37 points.
Pulled the little bubble screen thing out.
That was Thad's fault.
I know.
Thad texted me before the game and said they're going to run the bubble screen 15 times. Wait and see. And I was like, dude,
It's more
you
like
were
14.
absolutely
Shut
killing me.
up.
So what was the first play of the game? It was a bubble screen to Bryson. Now that one actually went for some distance, but
Yeah.
but
I mean, that's our trademark.
Part of that's Bryson's.
Everybody knows it's
Part of
our
that's
trademark,
Bryson's
and
fight.
yeah.
I mean,
You know,
if you're going to throw a bubble screen to anybody, either Blaine or Bryson are the ones that I would want them to throw it to.
don't
Yeah.
disagree.
Fighters.
But you know what?
Fighters.
he's too close to the other receivers on our side.
Yeah.
And the guy, their
The
side,
defender has
their
nothing.
defenders play up.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do to get off the other
You throw
blocker.
a bubble screen against us like that, you're going to get 10, 12 yards.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Because
requires
your safety's
aggressive
playing
blocking.
15 yards back, your corner's
Right.
playing 10 yards back.
Yeah.
And the other receiver doesn't have to block for 5 yards. I understand your point. And and it's a struggle
Yep.
to make that happen. And why they don't check out of that to something else, I don't know. But that's just, we've had to live with it for 5 years, and
Right.
it ain't going away.
Right.
A man on the glass.
We don't have a real
Down
effective.
in it.
A gnat did?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh no, we've got a bug in my drink.
Hey, it's a protein drink.
It's a protein drink. It is
No,
now.
but
a lot of
so
meat on that thing.
we don't do any of the drag routes. We don't do any of the slot, crossing routes.
Yep.
We don't do a whole lot to exploit the middle, of the defense.
Well, we did last year with Fish. Did a great job with that.
Oh, yeah.
Across the middle.
Well, they tried twice. I can remember vividly. They tried twice with Jacob Brazier in this game.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one I think was a little behind him
Yeah.
or in front of him. One of
Yeah.
the two. It wasn't a possibility. But yeah, they.
And there were a couple batted down. There were like at least 3 batted down passes too.
Yeah,
No, that's true.
Booty had an okay game. 13 of 22.
Yeah.
He had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
As
But
you said,
59% completion, and that's one of the things that we were talking about. The timing and the sync for Booty seems to be off. Seems to be focusing on one
Yeah.
primary receiver, and when it's the long receiver, and it takes time for that play to develop, it's almost like he's getting nervous for the sack,
That clock's going off in his head.
and he has to throw it quicker.
Yep.
But he's not putting that huge arch on the ball and leading the receiver
Well,
enough.
he put a huge arch on his interception.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
that
into
one.
the end zone.
Yeah, overthrew everybody, and it was a lob to the end zone. And I know what he was
Yeah.
trying to do, but
Yeah.
it was an easy pickings for that guy.
And that's where you'd love to see him do some either look offs or have some alternate routes that
Yep.
he can check down to when he's getting pressured. Okay, I'm just going to check down and get 7 yards. Maybe the guy's hit right away.
Yep.
Maybe he drops it. Maybe he doesn't.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
it's
7
7
yards.
positive yards.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing.
And I'm just not seeing that. So that's quarterback development maybe that needs to happen. We talked about, does he have a private coach? Don't know. Whatever. But
Well, the thing you'd like to see, and two things. One, he's got to understand he's got plenty of time back there most of the time. And you have a little more faith in that offensive line. I know
but
it's hard.
human nature.
Yeah.
The getting hit will change the way you think.
Well, and I think he has an awful lot of confidence in the Green Twins, which he should.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to make that throw, if that's the primary throw, every time.
Yeah.
As opposed to coming off and saying,
Because the
hey,
majority
coach,
of the
it
time, you
wasn't
throw
there.
it up in the general vicinity,
They're gonna get it.
They're going to go up and get it.
Yeah. And they did, and Bryson did. Bryson's touchdown in
my
the
gosh,
third
yeah.
quarter, fourth quarter.
I mean, the guy had position on him, but Bryson
Well,
jumped at
he
exactly
threw it,
the right time.
And I said, everybody heard me, he's not open. And he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was not open. And
But he
made
elevated
himself
way over.
open.
His waist
Yeah.
is at the top of the guy's head, and he just grabbed the ball and came down.
I was just like, it's a pick. I was just like, oh no. I said, he's not open. But he made himself open, and that's a sign of a great receiver.
Faith.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Brian. I didn't think your boy was open. He proved me wrong. I admit it. So it's 218 yards total passing for Booty. Jake Wolf played and had 28 yards passing. The one thing that did rear its ugly head for the Eagles this week was penalties.
Yeah.
9 of them for 75 yards, so they had some big
Well,
ones in there.
Let me tell you what.
You tell me what.
That one penalty was absolute BS on the defense. The linebacker
which penalty
is
was
on the linebacker is on the line. He backs off of the line.
Oh, yeah. But you know what it was?
Well, there was a shift. The two linemen shifted.
I saw the referee. He's talking to Gamble, and he said it went like that.
Because he clapped his hands?
Clapped his hands. As he's backing away.
Really?
Yeah, that's what
Okay. All right.
it showed.
It's simulating snap count.
Which the
I'll have to go back
quarterback-
and look at it, but okay.
Claps his hands. So
You can't, technically that's
that's
probably
like saying, "Hut,"
Yeah. Second half for McKinney. I just wanted to run this down because we do need to give the defense some props. And David and I were talking before James got here about when you sit back and say, okay, I'm going to look at positives out of this game.
Yep.
And one of the big ones to me, and again, whether it's the defense starting to mature or McKinney just not having a great offense, but McKinney's played everybody very well this year, and they've been in a lot of games, but they only scored 10 points. And so you say, okay, defense stepped up. They only gave up 350 yards, which is a vast
A heck of a
improvement.
lot, almost half as
better than
much.
600.
Yeah, 231 passing, which you can live with, 121 rushing, but again on 37 attempts, so just a little over 3 yards a carry. But you go after halftime, these are the McKinney offensive possessions: interception, safety, where they snapped the ball over the guy's head as he was punting, interception. They muffed the punt.
Right.
So that wasn't really. And then they went for it on fourth down and did not get it. They went for it again on fourth down and didn't get it. And then the game ended.
Yeah.
So you look at that and go, all right, defense did not allow a point past the first quarter.
That's a win. That's a success in anybody's
What's it-
book.
Didn't they also do an onside kick after their field goal?
Well,
They tried an
It was
onside
just recovered.
after their field goal,
Yeah, it was
but
just-
it didn't
it
go
was
10
recovered.
yards. It only
That's
went
right.
about 4.
Yeah, and they
And they-
recovered it.
Well,
So.
yeah, and then Leon Lett ran in there and jumped on it. Didn't have to touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a penalty or whatever.
Oh,
But,
couldn't
you're
believe
just
that.
like, but
Hey.
yeah,
And he got a good talking to at the sidelines when I watched him come in. Oh my gosh!
but the defense played
Corey
much better.
on the defense. Corey was lighting up the defense. He had him in the circle, and there was a lot of pointing and a lot of gesturing and motion and
Yeah, and again, as poor, I'm just going to say, as poor as we think we've seen them play, I think it wasn't perfect, and they still have some things to improve on. But they only give, again, at the end of the day, it comes down to how many points you're giving up. You can give up 1,000 yards if you give up a
exactly.
touchdown.
And we've had teams that have had have had reputations for that in the past.
And I fully think that let's look at it. They didn't play really well at Little Elm. Okay, and then they went out and smoked a Geyer.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Didn't play really up to their potential, I think, this last week, and we've got
Fantastic
Prosper coming
results.
up.
Yeah.
So I think, whether I'm right or not, I think sometimes you just don't want to show too much
Right.
is what's going on as to get the other team prepared.
Well,
I said that the other night, kind of in jest, but if you think about it, there might be some truth to that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody thought that Prosper was going to lose to Braswell.
Yeah, I didn't.
And we'll talk about
Didn't see
district
that
here in a
coming,
minute,
yeah.
but that all but killed Prosper's chance at a district championship.
Yeah.
Given they've already lost to Geyer. But yeah, that game coming up was kind of like
it was looming, but
Yeah.
now not so much. I mean,
it's still important.
That is very important. We can't let it take.
But I think
who wants to lose?
We
right?
say this every year. There's a game or two that they just play with their food, and to me, this was the play with the food game. Yeah, we can beat these guys. We don't have to be
Yep.
at 100% to do it. Although I do think, and I'll give Coach Shavers, some props here. He's doing a lot with what he has up there.
Yeah.
And I think as participation numbers grow, McKinney will have a chance to be, continue to. Now, I don't think they're going to make playoffs this year like everybody thought they'd be that fourth team in. I don't think they're going to. But I can see some improvement there. They were tough.
Mm-hmm.
They're one defensive end who's committed to Missouri.
Was that number 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing. Melissa football's coming on.
Melissa?
Yeah.
Is everybody moving out to Melissa?
Well, no. I mean, they're just getting better and
They
better.
got the numbers.
They got a strong team, and it won't be too many years down the road before Geyer will go away and Melissa will be part of our district.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
That would make sense.
They're building a stadium and a new school.
That'd be fun.
But
So
talk about talent, and then the defensive end, number 15 for McKinney. NATO just did an absolutely fantastic job. I mean, that's watching that talent get neutralized the way he did. It's just very impressive.
Yeah,
It's fun to watch.
That highlight play needs to be on Facebook like they put other things on Facebook where he took on those two players.
Well,
I told NATO that we had it, and I may have lied to him, but
no, we got it.
James will find
I got it. Yeah, well, yeah, and I'll send it to Mark, and he'll put it in.
Yeah.
Are you technically able
I can
to
put it
that
in here. Yes,
Okay.
I can put it in here. And
And if you want to, you can put it in so you don't have to look at us, our ugly mugs, while we're talking about
real.
it. But he took the guy to the sidelines, and probably two of them, wasn't it?
Two of them.
Yeah.
He got to.
And they both went down too.
Yeah, they both went down, and I was like, dude.
And I remember a couple plays where he was 10, 15 yards down the field on a run play. So
For those of you like Thad who love offensive line play, you watch Parker and you watch NATO on the right side of the line. And not to say the left side isn't very well disciplined and does a good job too, but those two boys, the last couple of
tear it
weeks,
up, man.
they have just been pancaking everybody, and they do play to the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
And NATO, especially, like I was telling these guys, he got his Alabama offer yesterday, and he got an A&M offer yesterday, and he's going to have offers from every big school there is, and he's a Greg Little starter kid, not as big as Greg, but he's getting the offers like Greg got. It's cool to see.
Great skills and capabilities.
Isn't it his brother that's in fourth grade or
You got me,
in
man.
elementary school?
Homegrown talent? What?
Well, they say he's about as big as he is.
Cool. Well,
I don't know. He may be, but it's fun to watch those guys.
Yeah.
And I find myself doing that from time to time, just not watching the ball and seeing what those
Exactly.
guys are doing over there. And
exactly.
he was having a good time. So, district was sort of kind of crazy Friday night, and
Indeed.
there weren't as many upsets as you initially thought there were. For those of you that watched the scores during the game, you look over and you see, okay, Prosper and Braswell kind of going back and forth, but the big eye opener was the McKinney-Boyd-Geyer game.
Yeah.
And you see, okay, Boyd up 7-0, and then Boyd up 14-0.
Yeah. And you think, the route is on.
Boyd up 14-3, and then halftime comes and Boyd's up 21-3, and you're like, What's going on
Yeah,
there?
Add Geyer.
Allen hangover.
It gives you the big question mark. What is going on?
Yeah, what's going on with Geyer? But a big second half for Geyer. They come back and they win.
What, 30, 31?
I think they scored 30
33.
points. Yeah, 30,
33
30,
21.
21, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, they held Boyd scoreless and ended up
33-21.
winning that game. So they moved to 4-1 in district, and they clinched a playoff spot, just like Allen did Friday night. They both have clinched the playoff spot.
But the real shocker.
Yeah, the real shocker happened. I don't even know. Was that at Prosper?
That's a turn your head sideways.
Yeah,
shocker.
that Prosper, yeah.
It was at Prosper, and Denton Braswell goes in and spanks Prosper.
Smokes them.
41-24.
And it was convincing. It wasn't just kind of like a bunch of fluke stuff going on.
And we were talking a little bit before we started this.
You need to watch that game, too.
Yes.
On Braswell.
I saw some of the highlights that had that game, and it was impressive.
Because you go, okay, they beat Keller. They lost to Rockwall.
Okay.
A lot of people lose to Rockwall these days. They beat Keller. They beat Pierce 69-63.
Yeah.
They beat VR Eaton 44-37. They turn around and they lose to McKinney Boyd 42-12. Which you're like,
And you think, okay, well, maybe they're not that good.
well, you go back and you look and say, okay, they've played 4 games before that, and they've scored 40, 38, 69, and 44, and then they only score 12 at Boyd. They come back the next week, and they score 68 against Little Elm,
Yeah.
same number that Allen scored.
Yeah.
They come back the next week and play Geyer and score 7. They come back the next week, they play McKinney, and they score 31 and lose 34-31.
Yeah.
Then they beat Prosper, and they have a bye week this week, and then they go play Allen last game of the year. So they're 5-4. They've gotten all their games in.
Well, it makes you wonder if there's one or two special players, and if you can do something to neutralize those guys, then they're just stuck.
Yeah, I think both their players are receivers, or one's a receiver and one's a running back.
Mm-hmm.
But,
their quarterback. I follow the stats on Dallas Morning News, and their quarterback's thrown for a ton of yards.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if this has been updated.
and it could be just those pitch offs and the swing things in the backfield.
Yeah,
because those are passes.
He's 59% passer. He's got 2,400 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And so, again, I don't know if this is updated from Friday night or not, but it probably is. So, very much they're going to toss the ball around in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When Allen plays them. So, it'll be interesting to see.
Right. And we play them up there.
Yeah, they've got
So
2
that should be
receivers.
fun.
In fact, one's got 695 yards on 52 catches, and the other one's got 48 catches for 693. They're 2 yards apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got, it looks like 2 stud receivers that are going to be a handful for this defense. But so Prosper loses, which kind of takes a little bit of the luster off Friday's game from the perspective of, okay, it's really
All the
good.
marbles type of setup.
It could have been, it would have made a difference. Trying to think if it would have made a difference. No, Prosper's going to go D2, aren't they? And what made a difference in the well, that's not necessarily true because it depends who finishes 4th.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes a difference as far as winning an outright district championship. Obviously, you've got to win it. So.
I mean, that's the next goal.
So right now you're sitting at 4-0. Allen is. Geyer's 4-1. Prosper's 2-2. Boyd's 2-2. And Braswell's 2-3. McKinney 1-3, and Little Elm's 0-4. So when you look at playoff picture, you pretty much go down to Denton Braswell.
Right, and draw the line.
And they have to win to have any chance. They have to beat Allen in order to have any chance to get into the playoffs. So that will be a do or die game for them.
Yeah.
Which Allen always gets everybody's best, but that's got a little extra mustard on it for those guys because that could possibly mean, especially, because if Prosper loses to Allen, they're going to be 2-3 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be tied.
A little log jam there.
And then if they beat Allen, they could be tied.
Yeah.
And then they've beaten Prosper, and they'd get in, and Prosper would be out.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
That would be
Shocker.
wild.
That's if Boyd continues to win. And I don't know who Boyd has left on their schedule.
Now, if West continues to win, they're in.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that district. So,
Yeah. Well, and
hang on
in
to
general, I mean, we're getting, for all the districts in the 5A, 6A, we're getting to that, who's going to be in, who's going to be out.
yeah, because you've got,
game plan.
and I guess technically McKinney is still in. I don't know. I have not gone through all, but I would look at Prosper, Boyd, and Braswell are the three teams that are fighting for the last two playoff spots.
Yeah.
I know McKinney plays Boyd the last game of the year, so I'm not sure who have that in the meantime. But anyhow, that's fun stuff. So Prosper 2:00 on Friday. Now, looking ahead, because we can do that because we're allowed to.
Yes, we can.
We don't have to go 1-0.
We do it whether we want to or not.
Yeah, we don't have to go 1-0 every week.
But the team,
The team,
congratulations, 1-0 once again.
yeah, it's a victory. It's just, like I said, if
VICTORY, you ain't got no alibi.
if they win 37-10 the rest of the games, the rest of the year, they'll be state champs and everybody be happy. 5-6A plays 6-6A
In the first round of the playoffs.
First round of the playoffs.
Yep.
And you talk about a messed up district right now because
Tell me
of
about it.
COVID has messed this thing up for them, and it's going to be very.
It's like their kids. It's like their kids are just out there like yucking it up. It's like they're all getting COVID. It's like, what are you people doing over
Well,
there?
and-
Let's don't knock on wood yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
The one thing,
You're right.
the Hebron Coppell game got canceled.
Yeah.
Okay, Hebron's lost another game against Plano that got canceled. And so if you look at district standings as of they stand right today, Marcus is 4-0.
Yep.
They have probably clinched a playoff spot. Louisville is 3-1, with their loss coming to Plano West.
Right.
Surprisingly, Hebron is 2-1.
Clarmont's not very high up there.
Plano
They're
West
losing a
is
lot.
3-2. So if you were to draw a cutoff line today, those would be your four playoff teams.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that because of Coppell and Hebron having lost games due to COVID, which are not yet, they're not doing like some things, and they weren't forfeited, they were just cancellations. The question is, what happens if, say for example, Plano West wins out, Coppell wins out, but yet Coppell's short one game because they lost a game with Hebron. Now, in the end, it may not make a difference here. Well, it could. Here's where it makes a difference.
Well, it opens that big question of what are they going to do?
What are they going to do?
Yeah, with
Because
those games.
the question is, if Coppell were to win the game they lost, they would be tied with Plano West, and they beat Plano West.
Yeah.
So
Tiebreaker.
if they don't play the game, what do you do? And I don't think that there's a gap week in between end of the season and playoffs.
No, I doubt it.
And so you wonder what's going to happen in this situation.
Well, and usually if it's like a playoff game, you've got a certain time frame that you've got to play the game in.
Yeah. In Plano West, who would be Allen's opponent as if today still has Hebron and Plano left. What do they win both? And West is
Well, I think
obviously
they
played
beat
better.
Plano for
Well,
sure.
Plano and Plano East didn't play Friday night.
That's another one that didn't happen. There's
Yep.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. I'm going to have to hang up on you. I'm doing podcast. I didn't mean to hang up. That was my daughter. Sorry, guys. That was weird.
Postponed Plano East and Plano Senior.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of postponements in that district, and I don't know what they're going to end up doing on it. So
Yeah.
last week I said I thought it was going to be the loser of Coppell and Louisville. And Louisville, well, actually that game got canceled. They didn't even play. And
Maybe they'd do a coin toss for the game.
it makes
Friday
you
Night
wonder,
Lights.
how are they going to handle it? I mean, what are they going to do?
Hopefully that committee has already started that,
Yeah.
figuring that out.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be tough. 'Cause
Yeah.
somebody's not going to be happy.
The district executive committee is
Yeah.
what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to make that call on how they're going to handle that?
Well, it's
Because
going to be the ADs and the district executive committee with guidance from the UIL, you'd imagine.
yeah,
Well, let's hope that some of the smart guys, the Steps and the Teppers of the world, will let us know. I'm sure they
yeah,
will.
we'll figure it out
Yeah.
before we do. I take that back. They did play Friday night. Louisville beat Coppell 39-14. I was
Yeah.
thinking that was right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you've got a situation.
Taylor Green had
there.
an interception, but they did all right. Their
You don't
running
know
backs
what's
were
going
good.
to happen. So, for us to try to sit here and say, okay, who's Outland going to play in the first round of the playoffs? It's still probably too early to tell, but it's going to be some combination of Louisville, Plano West, or Coppell.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Which
what
there's
it'll
some
be.
joy in beating any of those three teams. So I hope either one.
Yeah, I
And I
still
hope
think
I hope we win. Whoever we play, you always want to win.
that's for sure.
We know what it's like to lose the first round of the playoffs, and it's not.
And that
it's
is
not
no fun.
It's been our motivation over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's Terry's because he doesn't want to see that again. Yeah. He lived through that once, all right.
So it'll be interesting to see how that district on that side falls out. We'll see what happens this week. I don't know who plays who over there.
Actually, that's 13 years.
07.
2007, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, good Lord.
Seems like it was just yesterday. I remember that feeling, and it was not good.
There were several years back to back to back there that were not a whole lot of fun.
Painful.
Once you got past 8.
10, 11.
Yeah.
Painful.
Yeah.
But, you got to go through a little pain to feel that bliss of 12, 13, 14.
It is.
Losing
Which,
the goal line.
oh, man, that was some bliss. It almost bring a man to tears.
Want to give a shout out this week before we leave to a man who outdid himself this week, who is going to be on our podcast when he clears his schedule. He's one of the busiest men I've ever met. Either if it's fishing or cartoon designing or whatever. But if y'all have not seen
grandkidding and whatever, man.
Tuffy Tunes this week.
It was epic. It was beautiful. It was
Such a
beauty.
classic. Dropping the Lion King off Pride Rock was just fantastic. It brought me to tears. I was laughing so hard. I was like, great job.
And then
Randy Bridges, by
and
the
then he
way.
focuses on the grin, and I texted him on Facebook, "Hey, that's a eating grin
It
right
was.
there." It's so hilarious.
It was awesome. So, Randy, kudos to you, brother. I know you listen, or Jill does. And
Put a
she'll
lot
tell
of
you.
care and subtlety into your work. So
Yeah.
it's
I've asked him a couple weeks ago to come do a podcast, and he said he would, because we want to pick his brain on how he gets to where he gets on those things. Because
and
he's doing
I
it
want to learn a
weekly.
little bit about some of those bass fishing tournaments too.
Well, we can do that as well.
We'll
But he had a prior engagement today because he asked me on Facebook Friday night, when I'm free now. And I said, see you Sunday and Thanksgiving stuff. So he's busy.
Okay.
So whenever his schedule frees up, we will have Randy on and we can pick his brain. So if anybody has any questions for Randy, shoot them to us and we'll let them know. So Friday, 2 o'clock, you can
2 o'clock.
sit in the stands and stretch out and regurgitate your Thanksgiving leftovers.
Enjoy some popcorn.
Well, you didn't think.
Or chili.
Chili, yeah.
Chili.
It's the annual BEBC Chili Day.
Oh, I'm gonna miss it. I'm
So
sad.
we're going to be having chili. We'll be tailgating. We got to think what time we're going to get out there. Because
10.
the boys probably got to be there by noon at
We got
least.
to eat by noon.
Yeah.
So probably about 10.
We got to eat by noon. Does that give
Well,
us-
yeah. I mean,
You don't want
have
to
some settling time.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, yeah, we'll be out there tailgating. If you're around, come by and say hello before you pop into the stadium.
Yep.
It's supposed to be, I didn't check the weather.
Rain.
Rain?
Sounds like it.
You know what? I did see that.
40% chance of rain.
Is that during the afternoon or when
no,
is
it's.
I didn't
Well,
see.
Check in
Oh, it's
during the
changed-
week.
It's changed again, but it's still
It'll change.
showing thunderstorms. Oh, let's see, Friday.
Friday.
Thunderstorms.
50% chance of thunderstorms Friday.
Oof.
Maybe they'll delay the game until Saturday.
Wouldn't you
Saturday's
love that?
50% chance too.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If y'all can't tell, James is going to be out of town.
Rain gear.
I'm not happy. I'm going to be in Arkansas.
Yeah. Arkansas.
But I get to see my grandbaby, so I'm a happy guy.
There you go. That's
Man, this will change before Friday.
probably.
Probably will.
So who knows what'll happen. But
I'll be watching on the tube. So I have lots to say.
It'll be there. We'll listen. We'll look forward to your review of it. And you can give us a review of the broadcast. Because I have not watched one of those, obviously.
I have not either.
Games.
And I need to.
So, Carl Bailey, get ready, because
there will be critiquing.
We're going to critique you this week. So, anyhow. All right, guys. Another Allen Eagle 37-10 victory over McKinney. Eagles are undefeated in the season still. This week, 2 o'clock, Prosper. Friday afternoon. Bring your rain gear. This is senior night,
right,
as well. So if you have a senior, congratulations to you. Come see them get honored before the game, and the Eagles play the Eagles.
Yep. And if anybody's got any outstanding questions or controversy,
shoot
us a shot. We'll investigate.
Speaking of which, before we go, don't know why, violation of district policy. I say violation. Not in accordance with district policy, I'll just put it that way, because I don't know if it's a violation or not. Both teams stood on the sidelines for the national anthem.
Yeah, that was kind of wild.
Just after we got
through talking
the understanding of why they didn't,
yeah,
they're both of them were
out there.
Yeah, and they were all in unison, hands behind their backs.
No,
together.
there was I was watching that. There were some that went in and put their hand over their heart, or on the left hand side, about 5 of them in a row.
Okay.
So, but just for whatever reason, both teams were on the sidelines. So who knows anything about why people are doing it?
Maybe there was a little bit more discussion saying, look, we need to... okay.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this week.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
Yeah.
So, anyhow.
I'm proud of my country. I'm proud of my flag. I support all people. And so let's,
Hey, it be what it be.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting that we're back to this now. So, who knows?
Yeah.
All right, folks. We will be back next week with our wrap-up of the Prosper game, of our Thanksgiving festivities with our families. We'll let you know if anybody had anything fun happened there. And until then, it's over, and we're out.
Adios.